Hey everybody, welcome to the H.E.A.T podcast, number 57. Karyn, Bryant here with you.
And I'm Pete Cummins.
He's worried about his makeup. He said that I sat over here for half an hour doing mine.
I asked if my forehead was shiny.
And if I said yes, what were you going to do about it?
I was going to blot it.
Were you?
I was going to dry it.
With what?
With my sweatshirt over here.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Take a moment.
Really?
Go ahead.
Really?
Yeah.
So it needs to.
I don't know. I'm just being ridiculous.
You guys don't think of telling me that before we rolled camera?
So at any rate, here's what we'll be talking. It's not really. I'm just messing with you. It's hot. Mine's probably shiny too. I got a 5 minute.
Well, I didn't want to say anything, Karyn.
So today we're going to be.
Little foundation would have helped.
Yeah, what? Never mind. The makeup artists, they go, look, I'm not a makeup artist, I'm not a magician. That's like their favorite line. They're like, what can I do? I can't, I'm not. So anyway, it's hot in here, so we're both going to get a little shiny. We're both going to schwitz while we talk about UFC Saskatoon, which went down in,
Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Yes.
Where the girls are hot.
So we'll talk about that. We also will touch on Michael Bisping's comments about Frankie Perez retiring after only his second UFC fight. We'll talk about Ronda Rousey versus Holm, and also the situation with Rumble and the yoga mat, that offensive yoga mat that really set people off.
He's got some great insults, though.
I know. Sorry, I'm probably going to offend people too, when I talk about it. But anyway, so we were off last week. I was out of town. I was in Florida. It was amazing. You can't tell. I'm so tan right now. I've got some pretty good tan lines.
You do.
And
the comment boards are lighting up now.
Won't be sharing. I considered it, but there's no real way to take a picture of that without it being
really. So do you?
Problematic.
So
I will continue to verify for everyone.
Yes, I am actually. What?
Now, are you wearing kind of a skimpy bathing suit when you're down there?
I wouldn't say skimpy, but it's a bikini. I only wear bikinis.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thong back bikini?
No! Come on, I'm not that young anymore.
You were talking tan lines. I thought you were.
Well, anyway, let's go. It's round one. We're already 20 seconds in round one.
I got some tan lines.
I tell you what, this is already almost as long as this fight lasted. Such a bummer with Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira. Like, this was supposed to be one of those sick fights that everybody looked forward to. We've all been looking forward to it. We're all salivating. We're building up on the shows. Everybody's looking forward to it. Max Holloway's amazing. He's number 5. Charles Oliveira ranked number 7 going into these fights. One guy's amazing at jiu-jitsu. One guy's amazing at striking. It's going to be a battle of all ages.
Until there's a neck thing.
Until, So it only lasted, a minute and 50 seconds or something, or you do the math. 1 minute and 34 seconds. No, that's more than that. Yeah.
No, minute 34.
And so Charles Oliveira kind of went for the shot. Max spun out of it, and Charles is in a weird position and jams up against the cage, and then kind of gets out of it, and then he stops, and he's going like this, and you're trying to figure out what it is, and everybody thought, oh, maybe he had a stinger, maybe he broke his clavicle, maybe this, maybe that. Turns out it was an esophageal tear. Hi.
An esophageal tear.
Yeah, and I guess apparently it's really bad because then things can start leaking into parts of your body that aren't supposed to.
And how'd that happen?
I don't know. I read one thing that said, I think a lot of it is still developing at the time of our recording this. I had read that, he said he had a neck injury prior to the fight or something, but I don't know. So
is it something internal in your throat?
Well, your esophagus, you figure, is this, but I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's all still kind of.
But it wasn't a cut on the outside.
No, it said it was an esophageal tear, so it made me think internal, because then they're saying things can go places they're not supposed to go internally.
See, if you told me that like Donald Trump got an esophageal tear, like that would I believe. He's so like bombastic, be like, I sprayed myself.
Right. I guess it was just a really weird angle, because at first when we were talking about it on the show, Dominic and Michael were saying, like sometimes at wrestling practice, you get in this weird position and you get, like a stinger. People know what that. Sometimes you think, oh, maybe it's a pinched nerve, but it feels like death. Like you literally, because it's under, you can't tell what's up, but you think my arm is about to fall off, or there's something majorly wrong.
He looked in serious pain.
Yes.
I was screaming, "Get up, pussy," at the TV about 5 times before then I realized, oh, wait a minute.
You were watching porn.
Oh, wait a minute. Porn where they just lay down. It's porn of paralyzed people. They just are laying.
Charles was in obvious, ridiculous pain, right?
Well, and that's the thing. It's like you couldn't see what was wrong,
right,
and the announcers can't figure it out, but you just see this guy who you know is incredibly tough,
right?
Who's in a huge, like, it was almost like Darth Vader had like come in and just went like this, because he was like, he's like on the ground. You're like, what? I don't see it.
It's frustrating. So it goes down for a win for Max Holloway, though. We look at his stats. Max is really on a tear lately. He's doing so well in terms of the featherweight division, in terms of win streaks, in terms of... So in UFC WEC featherweight history, total wins, the champ Jose Aldo with 15, Chad Money Mendez with 12, Cub Swanson with 11, and Max Holloway now with 9. And we know that one of those wins for Max came over Cub Swanson, which was really the last fight that he had, which he just kind of put everybody on notice, like, oh my God, this young kid is serious. Like that, he lit Cub up, and Cub is a very, very tough guy. So also he's on a winning streak as well, so now he moves that streak up to active UFC featherweight winning streaks. Aldo with 7, Max Holloway now with 6, tied with Conor McGregor, and Frankie Edgar has 4. We also know that Conor McGregor is the last man to beat Max Holloway. That happened in August of 2013, and since then Max has won. And so of course, you know, that's something that he would love to get back. It's a fight with Conor, but he called out Frankie Edgar, which is cool. Frankie's such a tough guy, and he wants it to be in Hawaii. You know, like he's like, oh, can we please do UFC Hawaii? And because he's, you know, Hawaiian and everything. And it would be amazing. I just don't think it's ever going to happen. The logistics of a show in Hawaii and the logistics of people getting to the show in Hawaii, like you're telling me everybody in the islands is going to the fight? Probably not. Right. So now you're selling tickets. You know how incredibly expensive it is to get a flight to Hawaii.
How about Saskatoon?
When you can say it and spell it, then we'll have another show there.
Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
So anyway, congrats to Max, I suppose. I mean, it's tough. That's the end of round. I turned the silencer on, I guess. Ding, ding. It's the end of round 1. I will say, I would love to rather see that fight again.
Right.
Although I would love to see him fight Frankie, and obviously that means a lot to him. And Max handled it pretty well. Respectful. Well, the first thing he's doing is, you know, really, you know, sort of praying for Charles and making sure he's healthy and stuff. I think Max is a good kid. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. Seems like a nice guy.
He seemed like a total class act.
Yeah, for sure.
But what a bummer! Like,
total bummer.
To have purchased tickets, to have, I mean.
Well, yes, it's a bummer for the crowd for sure. They still had some fun fights, though. It was the debut of the UFC in Saskatoon. I don't know what else was going on there that night. I'm pretty sure it was still probably
stuff going on a Sunday night in Saskatoon.
The best time to be had up in Saskatoon, I'm guessing.
Sasquatch spotting parties.
My God. Anything with sarsaparilla drinking contest.
It sounds like a very hairy, furry place to live. Like snow and fur, like fur thongs.
It's called the Paris of the Prairies, to be honest with you. That's the city's nickname.
First of all, that is the biggest oxymoron.
I know.
It's the Paris of the Prairies.
I know, but that's what they call the city. At any rate, let's move on. The co-main event, Neil Magny and Eric Silva. This fight was a close fight, and it was won by Neil Magny, split decision. Probably should not have been scored in favor of Eric Silva for a round, but at any rate, somebody gave him a 30-27. Okay, well, here's it goes. Sal D'Amato, 29-28. David Theron, 30-27 for Magny. Oh, but Greg Jackson, not the Greg Jackson from Jackson Winkledon, 28-29 for Silva.
I agree with David Theron.
30-27?
Yeah, I had it at 30-27.
Well, if you look, total strikes, Neil Magny 132 of 204, so he had a 65% landing rate there. Eric Silva only 37 strikes landed, total strikes. So, listen, it was close at times, and there were some great reversals, and there were some great exchanges, but it was certainly, to me, Neil Magny's fight. You know, after losing to Damian Maia at the beginning of the month, he took this on short notice, you know, because he's like, look, I didn't get hurt in that, I just got owned. Let's be honest, Damian was all over me, but he didn't really take damage, so he was fine to come in and do this again. And some people argue that Eric Silva's not the same guy that he once was due to various reasons.
Well, he's got a reputation of being up or down, doesn't he?
Yes.
And I was actually really excited for Neil Magny because, like, he was a guy where I was like, wow, watch out. And then Damian just shut him down. Yeah, so I'm saying it's really nice to see, like, 22 days later, he gets
back on
the winning track.
Yeah, no, he's a talented guy. you know, there's no shame in losing to Damian Maia in the jiu-jitsu tournament. Basically, that was a jiu-jitsu match that time. So good for him. Good for Neil Magny getting back on track there. We had one more stat from this fight? No. Okay, so let's move on to the fight of the night, though. This was fun. This was Patrick Cote and Josh Berkman. Mind you, I only got to interview one side of this fight. Went with Patrick Cote, and he won. So clearly, good luck interview over here.
I wasn't going to say it, but I mean, since we've been doing this, my luck shot up through the roof.
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, the guys I work with had picked Berkman going into this, and I was just like, I don't know. You know, I don't know. Whatever.
First of all, Berkman took a shot at the end of that first round, which, like, my jaw was hurting afterwards. Like, he took a shot, and the fact that Patrick Cote, like, knocked him out in the third round, because if I was him and I hit somebody with that shot, that was like the weight's going perfectly, just. I mean, like you know, you just want to like take the picture now. Yes. And like he's still standing. You're like, what the hell do I have to do? But then he got him with an even better shot third round.
He did. No, Cote's a really tough guy. He's a both these guys are veterans, been around a long time. And Cote has always had a good chin, but he hasn't had a lot of finishes in his career. So I believe this was only like his third finish. But the guy is money in Canada. He is 17-1 when he fights in Canada. Wow. So that's the thing. Like if you're looking at those kind of odds and stats, like if you played roulette and 16 times in a row it went red, you'd probably bet on red again. I'm saying that's why I picked him in the fight. That's not the only reason, but it's kind of
but see, that's always like 17-1 fighting in Canada, but then he's probably like for the first half of those fights they were all against Canadian fighters and smaller promotions.
So he's like not as tough as he sounds.
I think I'm going on record as saying he's a pussy. No, not doing that. No, what I'm saying is like, listen, I'm like 4-0 in fights inside my own house.
But the guy has got a record of like 23-9 or something, or 24-9. So if 17 of those win, I mean.
I'm just saying, if you're 17-1 fights in the U.S., then I'm like really
George St. Pierre is from Canada.
I'm just saying. Okay. Anyway, first of all, he won. He had fight of the night in front of the hometown crowd.
Why you gotta be a hater?
It was an awesome.
Why you gotta be a hater?
Listen, I love Canada. I call them my northern brothers.
Is that right?
From another Taylor mother.
Call you back. That was really what happens.
Is anyone in Montreal?
Otherwise, on the card, Valerie Letourneau had a good win over Marina Moroz. It was a fun night. I'm trying to think of it. And Nikita Krylov had a good finish. So it was fun. Even though the main event was disappointing in the way that it ended, it was still a good time. We had fun. I didn't. It's free. It's a Sunday night. All right, I got to turn this sound back on. That's the end of the round.
It's not every day you get to see an esophagus tear. I mean, that's quite.
Do you want to see one right now? Do you want to?
What are you gonna?
I will cut you.
I will. Listen, man. I think you're angry. She's getting a little too much.
I don't know if you mentioned that was the first time Berkman's been finished.
Yeah, that's the first time Berkman's been finished, and you know what else is finished? Probably his UFC career, unfortunately, because he was in before. Got to come back and lost 3 in a row since his return. Right. So unfortunately for him, tough guy. And the sad thing for him too is that he had said for those other 2 fights, one of them was against Hector Lombard, got overturned because Hector tested positive. And then his other fight, he lost. He's like, look, I had a lot going on in my life and my personal life, and this was the first time I had a real camp. And then he lost again. So it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, but do you get released after fight of the night? I mean, he put on a hell of a show.
Maybe not. Maybe that saved him. But he's 0-3 since coming back.
But.
Maybe they'll keep him.
But like, I'm thinking, if you're a fight promoter, if you're Dana White, you're like, this guy took and gave huge shots. I mean, this fight could have gone either way.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll give you credit on that. That's a good point.
I mean, they were slinging it. It was just like rock'em sock'em robots. And
all right, I'll give you a good point. That's a possibility. Maybe they'll give him one more chance.
Give me a good point.
Or he gets to just ride out in the sunset on a fight of the night and take his extra $50K and go home.
In Saskatoon.
You can't even say it. Round 3, speaking of retiring and riding off into the sunset, Frankie Perez, in the prelims, knocks out Sam Stout very quickly, gets his first UFC win. He's only had one other fight in the UFC. Gets his first UFC win, retires in the octagon after that. And it's funny because going into this fight, it definitely looked like somebody, that they gave to Sam Stout to go, hey, dude, here, you can get back on the winning track because we really like you and you're a good dude and you've been around a long time and we like you. Here's a good fight for you. And then he got knocked out, you know. So anyway, we were in the studio working with Michael Bisping and Dominic Cruz, and so I had to ask them about their opinion on this young guy retiring after only 2 fights. Well, my goodness. Here's me laughing and looking very strange. And so if you notice on my Instagram, I actually took myself out of this picture and just shared a picture of them. Because it's
all looking very orange.
It's weird. Yeah, well, it's weird. Yeah. It's a weird selfie angle and
Jersey Shore.
And it's stretched. Anyway, that's better.
Hello.
This is our blue steel pose here. Dominic was killing me. He took his phone flashlight out, you know, to be like full-on Anchorman, you know what I mean? And he's giving himself a little extra light and stuff. Like, okay, so love these guys. Have a great time with them. But Michael went on to say that he thought Frankie, you know, was basically a wuss for retiring. And he said that he didn't have the cojones to fight in the UFC. And that, you know, basically was kind of, he's like, hey, maybe he's a nice guy and this and that. But, like, it's not, you know, put your big girl panties on, basically. You know, if you think you're already that your body's saying, I can't handle it, you know, he's saying, get out. Because we don't need you, you know, type thing. And then Michael got a lot of grief for saying that. So what do you think?
Okay, first of all, it's no secret that I have a man crush on Michael Bisping.
Yes.
But he did get a little Donald Trumpy there
think?
for a moment. Well, first of all, the guy's saying he's retiring.
Yeah.
He's saying it's too much on my body.
Right.
Has what? 13 MMA fights. What was he? 12-2 or?
I have it right here. I can't remember his whole record. Yes. Okay, let me get.
So he's not a pussy. He's gone into the octagon before.
Sure.
So you coming out calling him a pussy and saying that? Well, you know what? Then he just shouldn't do it anymore. Yeah, that's what the guy's telling you. He's not going to do it anymore.
Right. But here's the thing that's the storyline for it. Okay, yeah, Frankie Perez, well, he had won 9 of his last 11 fights. Yeah, you don't think he has that many fights. I don't feel like flipping through the anyway.
But he had 2 fights in the UFC, 1 loss, 1 win. Right. He had, you know, 11 fights overall.
Yeah.
The guy's not a pussy. He's gone into the octagon.
No, but so here's Michael's point on this, because then he got to explain himself a little bit better. Basically, he was saying, look, you know, Michael's had, okay, yeah, here, Frankie Perez, his record going in, was 9-2. Michael's saying, look, Michael's had ups and downs in his life. He had some troubled times. He's had this and that. And for him, he can't comprehend that if you're good enough to make a living doing this and providing for your family, you know, as Michael does, he's a very well-paid fighter. He's like, I just don't understand why you would give up on that. You just proved you got the skill right now. You just knocked this dude out. It was very good. And so it was harder for him to kind of wrap his head around the idea of giving up on something when it looks like it could work for you.
Listen,
is really kind of more where he was coming from.
And okay, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Bisping, looking at it through Bisping's eyes, is confused about the decision to retire.
Right.
But you don't start personally going after someone going, well, you're a pussy, then this sport isn't for you. Well, yeah, that's what the guy's basically saying. The sport isn't for me. But, like, don't assail his character now and call him a pussy. This guy decided at age 26, you know what? I don't love it. I love my family more.
Yeah.
It's really hard. I mean, is that unusual? Yeah, it's really freaking hard. There's a reason why I will never come, you know, within 10 feet of the octagon. So it's just, I don't know. I thought it was unfair of Bisping. You know, listen, he's a smart guy.
Yeah, very.
And he didn't. That was just, come on, man. Like, say you're confused by why a guy would do that, but don't. I mean, listen, if he said something like, you took...
End of the round. Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
You took a spot on the UFC roster away from somebody who would really be hungry, that I could kind of see. It's like these women who go to the top business schools, like Harvard Business School,
just to meet
Stanford Business School, and then they meet their future husband, and they basically work like a year or 2, and then they become wives. Happens all the time. No?
I'm not sure I see the connection.
Because they took somebody's spot in business school.
But if they were good enough to get in there, who gives a... Why is it...
Well,
that's another...
So Frankie Perez took somebody's spot on the UFC roster.
There's always somebody else to get in, though. There's always a good... He didn't...
trying to play both sides of the argument. Good journalism, Karyn. Good
Here
journalism.
you go. No, I have a point, though. Here's the thing. There's a lot of people think that this was censored. Okay, so the clip when the UFC on Fox uploaded it to YouTube, there's a portion when Michael is talking where it goes silent, right? And he's saying something about Frankie Perez. We're in round 4, and we'll get to Ronda and Holly in just a second. He's talking about Frankie, and you see his lips moving, and you can't hear him. There's all kinds of people thinking there's a conspiracy theory, and oh my God, how could they censor Michael, and blah, 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 blah. I am here to tell you the absolute fact, and the absolute truth is this. Michael was not censored at all. There was somebody in Standards and Practices who thought the word cojones was a problem. They hit the button too late, and then it got adjusted, and it bleeped out subsequent words, which did not include cojones. Then there was a discussion backstage whether or not cojones was allowed. We found out in time it was allowed. They again used the word on the post-fight.
Now listen, me and the viewers know that you sort of work for Fox. You're sort of in the company pocket. I don't know why I don't... In the company pocket there. Let me tell you, I did lip reading, and all I could say is he was saying some pretty bad stuff about Mexicans.
Oh my God!
I was just lip reading. It was something like...
So not true. So
cojones is good.
So not, yeah, apparently that's the good news. So you can say cojones on Fox Sports 1.
Harry Bowles?
Don't know him. Is he a nice guy? Harry Bowles? Yeah,
Harry Bowles.
He's a good guy.
I wonder if there is somebody named Harry Bowles.
I'm sure there is.
Bowles. Harry Bowles.
But like B-O-W-L-E-S, like Bowles. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure there is. If your name is Harry Bowles, please.
Right. Is scrotum? Can you say scrotum?
I mean, I guess you could, but why would you? Unless somebody
that guy's got a lot of scrotum.
No, maybe if
that's the medical term for
saying something, and in fact the fight was stopped, unfortunately, because so and so
torn scrotum.
I probably would not want to use. Anyway, it's a clinical word, so yes, you could say it.
No more teabag.
Absolutely no way to segue into this other than saying, in other news...
He sprained his scrotum today.
In other news, people without scrotums who will be fighting Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm. Okay, so it was announced on Good Morning America the other day. Ronda announced that she will in fact be fighting Holly Holm instead of H.E.A.T, who pretty much believed she was going to be given the title shot next. Holly Holm, 9-0. The champ, 12-0. What do you think?
Holly Holmes is so over her head with this. I mean, listen.
Professional boxing record of like 33-2 or 1 or something like that.
Does she have an arm?
9-0. Yeah, 9-0 is
if she has an arm, it's going to be grabbed. It's going to be bent uncomfortably. Yeah. Listen, I saw her last fight. I'm sorry, but she went straight forward, came straight back.
Yeah.
I get it. Her striking, her punches, impressive. But there was no lateral movement, and she's not ready yet. Nothing against her, but she's not ready. Dude, what is this, her...
10th MMA fight.
10th MMA fight, okay. Listen, she's not ready yet. And, you know, I get it. If I was Ronda, I wouldn't want to fight Misha third time.
But Ronda was already the champ by her 10th MMA fight, just so you know.
Dude, I'm talking about her last fight.
Yes.
I'm looking at her last fight, and I'm looking at her last fight.
Right.
It's going to be a slaughter.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you.
And I haven't seen her move like an MMA fighter moves yet.
Yeah, to me, Holly, I agree with you. Is very, here I come, you know, it's not hard to predict where her things are going. Now, her striking is very technical and very accurate, but I would like her to pick up the pace a little, you know what I mean, and pick up the intensity. I don't think she's nearly aggressive enough to fight, you know, the way, you know, Betch Correia is all aggression, and we saw how that turned out for her. Right. Do you know what I mean? Right. Which was, you know, also she's sloppier. Obviously, Betch is not as crisp a striker as Holly Holm is, but H.E.A.T, unfortunately for her, found out the hard way. Found out, like, when everybody else found out, that she didn't get the title shot. So she had put this out. I'm extremely disappointed how all the events unfolded this morning regarding news that I will not be fighting Ronda Rousey. I was told after my last win that I had earned the title shot. I've already begun training for Rousey. was shocked to hear the announcement. My phone is ringing. That this morning I regret this not only for myself, but my team, sponsors, and the fans who, like me, believed my next fight was for the title. So, tough break for me.
Translation? Fuck!
Well, now H.E.A.T is talking about wanting to fight Misha. Listen, Misha can still make money. Misha's been there twice. You know, who's to say she can't get it?
Misha and Kat.
Yeah, Misha and Kat's a good fight. Here's Misha is actually doing a film right now with Holm, Chris Cyborg. You know, it's called what, Fight Valley, something like that. So it's a little bit awkward that she's got to work with some of these other people that you know, are giving her shot, and everybody wants to see Chris Cyborg fight.
It doesn't look like a cheesy film at all.
No. But it sucks for Misha. You know, she believes she earned it, and they said she earned it. So, you know what, but I guess she has time. She's been there twice before. She's good enough to stay, I think, relevant, obviously. So, you know, maybe it's just delayed.
I mean, listen, I get why Ronda's doing it. I mean, why do you want to fight Misha a third time? People keep bringing up the name Holly Holmes. Finish her quick. And then, listen, if Cyborg hasn't gotten down to 135 yet, you know what? Meet her at 140, destroy her, and then you can, you know.
Oh, so you think Ronda will beat Cyborg?
Yeah. Dude, come on, who's going to beat Ronda?
I don't know. I don't think it. I'm not saying she won't beat Cyborg, but I don't know if it's going to be as easy as you clearly think it is.
Who's Cyborg been fighting?
Okay, but Cyborg is, well, that's the problem, is that there's not a lot of people at 135 pounds.
145 pounds.
I mean, 145 pounds.
In Invicta.
Right. But Cyborg is, okay, we'll see what happens.
Well, her nickname's Cyborg.
I know. So she's really, really tough. Okay, we are in round 5. Pete, you can take the lead on this. Anthony Rumble Johnson, I know. He went a little crazy. Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth. What do you think about what he did to the woman and the yoga mat? Go.
Listen,
man on the street interview right now.
Listen, in terms of horrible things you can do to people.
By the way, it's really hot in here right now. I'm sweating like. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right, listen. I get it, okay? You know, the woman, she put her yoga mat down where they're lifting weights. I mean, in terms of offenses you can pull on people, that's pretty damn high up there. I mean, you can kill a man's father while he's a little boy and he grows up fatherless. You can pillage and plunder his village and sell his sister and his mother into sexual slavery. And third on that list, you can put your goddamn yoga mat down where people are trying to work out. You fat. But I gotta say, he has got some of the best misogynist insults ever. I can't even figure out this one. One more thing, stop wearing sports bras when your tummy looks like an old country red clay dirt road. I was like, hold on, let me think.
See, I thought that was a pretty good metaphor. Like, in a vacuum where this is not a professional male athlete picking on a woman, if you were like at a comedy show and somebody heckled and the comedian said, yeah, well, your tummy looks like an old red country road, like, you would laugh, right?
Yeah,
contextually, it wasn't something he should have said.
That's friggin' literature.
Totally,
man.
that's what I'm saying.
That's like Norman Mailer.
The metaphor that he pulled out.
Her stomach was like an old country red road. Lumpy and
actually, it's a simile, right? A simile is a metaphor using like or as. It's a simile. It's not a metaphor. It's a simile.
Does he use like or as?
Look like. It's a simile.
Okay, all right.
Sorry about that.
What? Karyn, that's something you tell me off camera.
No, I said it was a metaphor. It's a simile. I goofed.
All right.
Bad.
All right, so
anyway, and then he also said she was built like a bag of dry dog food.
First of all, it is. He's got to be a writer. He's got to be a writer. It's going to be like, it was the best of times and the worst of times.
In the gym.
She was built like a bag of dry dog food.
Okay.
I think he also does another one, Dan.
Well, he goes on to say about her being a fake, fake crying. Don't run there. He's gonna, it's an athlete's gym.
You need more than stretching to help that beat up body.
Yeah. You need more than stretching to help that beat up body there. So here's the thing. Rumble posted this on Facebook, on his Facebook page, to his friends. I actually saw it, okay? And maybe I'll keep my reaction to myself. But, all right, I laughed. I'm sorry I laughed. I laughed. And
every
now,
woman watching was just like, Karyn,
it's wrong.
Karyn, we have come so far.
I know, and I'm getting my women's lib card revoked.
Listen.
But I thought, like I said, in a vacuum, the word phrasing was amusing.
No, he
should not have. He should not have. See, the problem is he's a celebrity. He has zero right to privacy now. On anything he posts on social media, he has to know it's going to be used against him.
Everyone has zero
No, I know,
rights.
but I'm saying he has to know it's going to be used against him, which it was. So now this whole storm comes up, and then the UFC has to make a statement on it, and all these people. And he should know better. Rumble should know better than to do that, because he knows how easy it is to get in trouble.
Well,
and I wish he hadn't done it, because I don't think he's a bad guy. But that makes him look like a bad guy.
It does make him look like a bad guy. And listen, also, here's the thing. It's like, you're a professional fighter.
Right.
Like, you don't want to be physically threatening anybody.
No.
You're a super tough guy. You don't need to physically threaten anybody. Like, don't go to that well.
Okay, but, right, and he's gotten in trouble before for, alleged or whatever domestic thing. Okay, but to take his side for a second, if I walk into a gym,
bitch put her yoga mat where I was lifting weights.
If you go to a gym that
dried out, your stomach's like the wooden crackly hull of a ship that should have been decommissioned years ago, sitting in Saskatoon Harbor.
With barnacle, it's landlocked, I believe, but that doesn't really matter.
Damn it, I knew I should have. See, I gotta go to him.
Simile, metaphor using like or as, Saskatchewan, landlocked.
So, sorry, defending him?
No, I'm just saying it's a tricky situation because we weren't there. But I would know, let's say I walked into a professional basketball player's gym or whatever, like I'm not going to go over there and run suicides while they're doing practice. Like, you do kind of know where you're going in terms of the gym, what the environment is. It's a professional athlete's gym, and you should maybe go to the stretching areas. All I'm going to say is that it doesn't mean he was right to do that, but at the same time, maybe have a little awareness of where you're, I don't know.
She's an idiot. Okay, that's it. She's an idiot. If you walk in and you lay out your yoga mat where a bunch of hard-ass looking dudes are working out, when there's a stretching out area there, you're an idiot.
Most people would give you a hard time.
But just because somebody is an idiot doesn't mean that you then out-idiot them.
It's not a good look.
Like, you gotta, be smarter than that. Be smarter than that.
Yeah, it's not a good look. It's not a good look.
He did come out and
he apologized.
Publicly apologized.
Yeah, he apologized, and the UFC, gave a statement. And I really think it's much ado about nothing if we're getting literary feed. Shakespeare, look it up. He shouldn't have done it. But she shouldn't have put the yoga mat there.
I just want him to, I actually want him to insult me now. I want him to be like, you like a...
Don't. This is the other thing, you guys. Pete was reading that quote before. I don't know where the hell he thinks Rumble Johnson is from. What was that accent?
Because someone talks about an old country dirt road. Don't try to make this a black-white thing.
I didn't say that at all.
He's talking about an old country dirt road. Come on, you can only read that one way.
Or he could have read it like Forrest Gump.
Well, you choose to read it your way. I choose to read it my way.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Rumble does have a fight coming up. As we know, UFC 191. That's coming up in next week, and I'll be working on that show on Fox. It'll be fun. Demetrius Johnson defending his title against John Dodson. It's a rematch. It should be a good fight. Also on that card, Andrei Arlovski and Frank Mir.
That is going to be fun.
I know, and I don't know who I like in that. Part of me says Arlovski, but then after Frank and Todd Duffy stood there and he just took a goddamn Mack truck to the chin and stood there, then I'm like, well, maybe Frank.
These are two guys who a year ago you'd be like, no.
No, they're maybe past their prime.
Never.
But after that banger with Travis Brown, Andre's looking solid. It's going to be fun.
So anyway, listen, I was thinking about the Ronda Holly Holm thing, right?
God.
And listen, I was thinking...
You were still thinking about Harry Bowles. You know that. That's what you were really thinking about.
Promoter porn, right? Promoter porn is like...
You're putting your yoga mat down in my gym right now.
Promoter
Tread lightly.
Like, I'm telling you, Bob Arum...
Tread lightly.
Bob Arum masturbates to this nightly. He's like, Ronda Rousey versus Floyd Mayweather, Madison Square Garden. Promoter porn, man. How huge would that be?
You're creeping me out right now. I'm going to be honest. You just totally creep me out. I know Bob Arum. He's not a bad guy.
I didn't say he was a bad guy.
I know, but now you just laid your yoga mat all over Bob Arum. It's not okay.
That actually has to be a phrase. Don't lay your yoga mat in my shit. Get your yoga mat out of my shit.
I think we might.
No, I was just thinking of like what would be the ultimate promotion that would get every promo. Come on, Ronda Rousey versus Floyd Mayweather. The pay-per-view would be through the roof
same card.
in Madison Square Garden. They just approved. New York has just approved MMA
on the same card where Brock Lesnar comes back. All right, there's Bob. Yeah, he's taking it to you right now, Pete. And you got yoga mat.
Damn it, Pete. That's a great idea. I got this hand to sign the checks, and well, this hand's going to be doing something else. That is promoter porn.
I'd like to apologize to all the people that I met
promoter porn.
So, at any rate, that's going to be fun.
Godzilla versus King Kong.
Good week coming up. Here, Pete, keep it up, and you don't get to go to lunch with Connor.
Do not put your yoga mat on my lunch with Connor.
So this week we got UFC tonight on Wednesday, and after that, I'm very excited, filming a special one-on-one for Fox with Forrest Griffin, whom I love. So this is going to be a lot. He's actually going to be on UFC tonight with us as well. And then he is such a clever guy, such a funny man, and obviously so, just so important to the UFC. I'm really excited. Really, really excited. Also, Pete, it's the last weekend before our children go to school. What are you going to do with them? Then we're going to wrap this up.
I'm on jury duty. I'm on a jury right now. I hold, Karyn. First of all, Karyn, you want to talk responsibility?
Yeah.
I'm at Fox, and I hold a man's life in the palm of my hands.
Oh.
No, actually. It's a civil trial, and it's about a friggin' car accident thing. It sucks, man.
Does it really?
Dude,
How did you get picked? You should have kept the high old guy beard. You would have gotten in and out of that building.
Dude, high old guy wasn't even allowed in airports, much less on juries. No, you know what it was? Because I could have gotten out of it so easily, man. All I had to do was say...
No speaking English?
No,
would you pull that
all
one?
I had to do is say, like, I can't be impartial, because it's, it involves a car dealership. That's all I can tell you. I'm sworn to secrecy. And it involves a guy named Max Friedman, who may or may not be guilty. But that's all I'm saying.
Based out of the La Jolla Ford dealership down in there.
Listen, I can't tell you anything more, Karyn. Don't tell me anything.
What's hilarious to me right now, this is like a social experiment where the room gets hotter and hotter and hotter, and we must see how totally
we just started laying our yoga mats on each other. Yeah.
Mental we can become. Here, this is how hot you know it is. The hair is slowly going back to curly. Can you see that? Because the sweat is it's like a chemical. It's all of a sudden the add water to straight hair and it gets curly.
I'm very sweaty.
You're sweaty, hairy bowls over here.
I fell asleep during the thing, and I was like this, and then I went like this, but like. Because I'm not holding a guy's life. I'm like determining who's at fault on a friggin' car repair.
You would rather be in a do or die like O.J. Simpson type case? Like you'd rather be in sequestered away and sitting there getting to know and arguing with the other
afterwards.
jurors.
I knew he was guilty. Juror number 7, Pete Cummings.
Are you the what is it,
juror
foreman?
number 7.
You're not the. Why aren't you taking the lead on the jury? Come on.
Dude,
You slack, you do the minimum. I showed up. I don't want to run the jury, though. I'm just going to show up and sit in the back and sleep and text.
Well, this is funny, because they give you, like, a notebook with, like, a pen.
Of course they do.
And on the break today, this woman, who's also a jury, comes over and she goes, so I see that you don't like to take notes. And then, like, walks off. And I'm like, I mean, that's fucking laying your yoga mat.
Totally.
Right there. I'm like, what, you think you're a fucking better juror than me? Because I'm not fucking taking notes? Fucking little fucking Sally kiss
Country
ass.
road belly mother effing having, right?
And I'm trying to be like a good juror, but like, it gets so boring.
I bet.
It's like, all right, this is a diagram of the car's flatulator, and we see here that the bolts on the flatulator are rusted. Are there any reason why bolts should be rusted? Well, sir, they're and I'm just like,
oh my
that's
God.
so fucking
well,
boring.
I'm sorry.
And the thing is, I could have gotten out of it. Like, people did.
Yeah, of course.
People said,
Smarter
no,
people.
you know what? I have really bad experiences at car dealerships.
Right.
I can't be impartial. And like, I was going to do that, and then like you look up, and there's like a picture of like the blind lady holding the scales, and the and the American flag, and the faux stone pillars, and like I got this.
You got a little guilt.
I got this little like. I think they call it like integrity.
Oh my God!
It was like it felt like a little esophagus.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, kind of threw you off for a second.
Because they're like, because the guy looked at me and said, okay, because I told him I said listen, I think car dealerships. I said if there's doctors, cat burglars, and then like car mechanics are right down here. And then the guy said, well, even with that, do you think you can put that aside?
Right.
And then I was like, and then I got that aside.
Oh my God. Sure.
And then well,
you're a good man then. Thank you for doing your service.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
I know, while your wife and kids are away too. Like, you could not have timed it worse. You were supposed to be on a bender. Like, you were supposed to be on an epic, we had, what is it, 2 dabs of acid. What is it, the beginning of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas? We had how many pods of acid and I mean, you're supposed to be that guy right now.
Wade and I went to a movie.
Wow, what'd you see?
It was good though. It was so good movie. Straight Outta Compton.
Really?
Now, Wade...
Why don't you say what your pick was?
You wanted to see...
What was my pick?
Trainwreck, right?
Trainwreck. It's all right.
Not great.
Trainwreck.
I know, but it's not great.
It's not a good movie?
Not great.
I thought it was
She's
good.
funny. I like Amy Schumer. It's a lot of Amy Schumer to take at once.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
We said swatch.
And it's a total chick flick.
Well,
by
your
the way.
husband...
It's a total chick flick.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More so than I thought. I don't even like chick flicks.
Yeah, see, that bums me out because my wife, who's totally cool, has a totally great sense of humor.
She's awesome.
Said it was a great movie.
I didn't think it was great. I thought it had some funny things, and at first it just kind of seems like a collection of skits. And she, like I said, she's funny. I like her. But it got to be a little too much.
All right. Well, Straight Outta Compton was good.
Which I haven't even seen yet. Lost my girl card, lost my black card today. I'm just...
You'd be begging for jury duty if you went to that movie.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it was.
At any rate, you liked Straight Outta Compton?
Wade got carded.
Oh, nice.
Wait, how are you?
That's right.
42? 42. And like a true card. Like, yeah.
How'd you feel about that, Pete?
Oh, Pete was trying to pull his wallet out.
Oh, they were like, and like even shaven.
Dude.
And stuff. What? Are you 42? So
But,
anyway, we're all sitting up at the bar.
Did you say thanks, Dad, or anything like that? I mean, I'm not saying he looks 21 either, but...
Bobby, Wade, me.
Right.
Thanks, Uncle Pete and Uncle Bobby.
Yeah.
And we all order, and then she goes specifically to Wade, can I see some ID? And
maybe
I'm like,
she was trying to find out where he lives and get his number. Did you ever think that maybe she was just trying to kick it to him and make a longer conversation, Pete, and find a reason to stay at the table?
Dan.
I don't know.
Dan, if there's one place that I do particularly well at, it's the Cheesecake Factory and the waitresses. All right. So first of all, is that
white
the whitest?
jeans.
Is that the one? So anyway, before we go to Straight Outta Compton, we go to the Cheesecake
By the
Factory.
way, that's what I was just about to say.
And I ordered a vodka and tonic.
Dude's night out at the Cheesecake Factory.
Yes,
when I
yes.
go with my girls, I go out to like a bar to the point where Wade's always like, why did you have to go out to the bar? Why couldn't you just go over to the Cheesecake Factory? That's where he wants me to go with my girlfriends because he knows it's not...
Full disclosure, we'd already put down 2 pictures. The movie was sold out.
Diet
we
Coke?
had to buy,
All right, okay.
And they make a great apple teeny.
And that Skinnylicious menu is just so good.
But listen, Karyn.
Yeah. We might want to wrap it up at some point. I don't know.
you do have a little bit of a problem when you go out, and you
What
know
do you mean?
this is Wade's been meaning to talk to you about it, and
About what? The fact that he needs to
drinking,
I do?
partying,
Is that
dancing
me?
on tables.
Is that right?
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah, I got.
Everybody look at me, woo, crazy.
Shots.
I think Trainwreck was a little too close to home.
Oh,
is
is
what
that?
I think.
Is that what it is?
I think Trainwreck.
Now,
you felt
when
like
we went out to watch UFC 190 with Ronda Rousey, I said that I would treat you to dinner and to whatever that night. I believe I had like a beer and a half. One of them I think I split with Lars. You have like 3 vodka tonics or something.
Yeah.
Like
never tell me you're going to pay for me before the bill comes.
Right.
Really?
Right.
All right. Give me that menu again.
Keep them coming until someone passes out. No, it was fun. It was my pleasure. Actually, it was a really fun night.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I really did have a good time with you. But no, Trainwreck is funny. Just a lot to take.
Gotcha.
So are we at this point, so we should probably...
If you're
It's because we didn't do a show last week and you missed me.
I did. I missed you.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, I did notice that you and Wade kind of compete when you go on your separate vacations.
Not at all.
With your kid.
No.
Oh, come on. Wade's got the picture like, here's the munchkin with a turtle. And then you slam right back.
No,
here she is on horseback.
No, I actually am very reluctant to share things, and I only do it because I feel like he'll be peeved if he doesn't see pictures of his daughter.
Do you think she had more fun with you in Florida or with Wade in Colorado?
Pete, I bought her a puppy.
Done. Fucking yoga matted. Yoga matted.
And that's a wrap.
Listen, if you still are watching,
Thanks, Mom.
thanks, Mom. Yes, thanks.
So, Pete, where can people find you on social media where you will always say things
I put out a tweet from the courthouse today.
You did?
I did.
I think I did. Where the lady was busting on you about the notes, right?
Yeah, where she's busting on about the notes.
Did you see the
She
thing I
walked by
sent you?
and yoga matted.
When I forwarded you the thing from Life Hacks about the
Thank
insult generator?
Yeah,
You
I
could
did
have
that.
employed that right there at that moment with that lady.
Listen here, you stuck up
Yeah, there's just
bitch.
Yeah, totally.
There's sort of 3 cones.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Dude, Anthony
Anthony's a poet.
Rumble.
He's a poet.
It's like I'm like when we're done, I'm gonna go back and I feel like empty now. It's like, how do I fucking compete with that shit? Like that was like great writing.
It was great writing. Pete, once again, speaking of great writing, if you're going to tweet, where can people find you?
My noogie.
Jeez.
Can we just...
Okay, so
done?
on Twitter, I'm at Karyn Bryant. Also, they're on YouTube. We have our MMA Heat Facebook page. On Instagram, I'm KB Heat. And like I said, UFC tonight this week. And
are we doing a show next week?
We could, might do. It's like the last day before the kids go to school, so maybe not. And I have to do a lunch with Demetrius. And Paige Van Zandt and Demetrius next Monday. So we'll see. Maybe not.
I mean, we've really made this one long enough where you can get the whole CD.
Right.
I feel like.
At any rate, thank you. And remember, you can also find all of our podcasts on iTunes and Stitcher. If you go to mmaheat.com/podcast, you can find links to all of them. So thank you. See you next time.
Promoter poll.
Yoga mats. Yoga mat.
Yoga mat me, man. Get your yoga mat off my
Damn yoga
you
mat.
country road bumpkin